I've got a couple of questions for you. You tweeted about this yesterday, quote, Republicans were furious about Hillary Clinton's emails and personal server. Why aren't they screaming from the rooftops, outraged about the Secret Service texts exchange on January 6th being purged? For you, from what you've seen, from your very, very significant point of view inside the White House, working for Mike Pence, is this surprising to you that the text messages are missing?
Yeah, it's completely surprising. Look, we take the preservation of government records very seriously. And I'll be honest, I've run technical migrations for the government, and I can tell you 100% that we plan very ahead for these things, and that everything is mapped out from point A, point B, C, and D. I mean, we have it all planned out. There's a timeline of everything. And I just find it completely just appalling that no one in the leadership thought to themselves, hey, maybe we shouldn't proceed with this migration. Like, maybe we need to preserve these things. And even just for historical context on this moment, on such a very dark day in our country's history, why would you not think to do that? And so I think this entire scenario, I mean, yes, it could be gross incompetence, but look, I've worked with the technical people in government and the engineers. They're pretty capable. They really know what they're doing when it comes to this, especially if you're migrating something like the Secret Service, which is part of a law enforcement endeavor, right? It is part of the Department of Homeland Security. And so, you know, when I think about this, my question is, I really want to know, did Tony Ornato text? Were there text messages between him and right. Secret Service coming from outside the web? That's really sort of the direction of this. I mean, and if so, why won't these people come forward and testify? Like, why won't they talk about what was in these messages?
Well, I'm curious, since you have experience with these migrations, do you have experience? Have you seen when something significant happens that a migration is stopped or held back and information is preserved? I mean, would it make sense that on January 5th and 6th, somebody along the chain of command would say, we need to preserve all the information surrounding these days? Is that a fair assumption that should have been done?
Yes, absolutely. Like, I've been in situations where we've been migrating technical capabilities with warfighters overseas, where people in leadership stepped in and said, hey, by the way, there's a serious operation happening. You cannot do this, or we've got to preserve the data and we've got to put a pause on it. It's very easy to do that and shift schedules. There are delays all the time that happen with these technical migrations. It's a very thoughtful process, is what I'll reiterate again. And so I just find it completely suspect that this would be the case, and that specifically that time period is what is missing now. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. I operate on fact. That's my background on national security, but something is definitely amiss here.
Olivia Troy, thank you very much for coming on this morning. Come back soon.
We've got major developments in Georgia's investigation of potential interference in the 2020 election. A judge has now ordered Rudy Giuliani to testify in Fulton County, Georgia in early August. That's according to a new court filing. And it comes as Georgia prosecutors unveiled that 11 Republicans are targets in their criminal investigation. Joining us now is NBC News correspondent Blaine Alexander in Atlanta. Also with us is Barbara McQuaid, former U.S. attorney in Michigan and an MSNBC legal analyst. So, Blaine, walk us through this Giuliani development.
Well, this is a court filing that just came out within the past hour or so, Lindsay. And essentially, in the filing that was posted by the Fulton County District Attorney, she says that a judge has now ordered Rudy Giuliani to come down here to Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, and testify before this special grand jury. And we now have a date. It's going to take place on August 9th, according to this order. Now, we understand that Giuliani was ordered by a New York judge to appear in a separate hearing, essentially to come and show cause as to why he shouldn't have to satisfy the subpoena, why he should shouldn't have to come and testify. According to that judge, Giuliani did not show up for that hearing, and that's what prompted the judge to then issue this order. Now, we should mention that we have reached out to Rudy Giuliani's team for any sort of response, either to this order or any other things around the subpoena. But certainly a very big piece of breaking news. And also it comes as we're getting more information just about the scope of this investigation, as we're learning more about who the Fulton County District Attorney is targeting. She's made it clear now that she's confirmed that she is targeting 16 of those fake electors. The 16 fake electors, they have moved from witnesses to targets in this investigation. It's certainly notable for two reasons. One, it shows that the pace of this is picking up. We're seeing really a lot of movement, a lot of motions flying between parties over the past few days or so. But also it shows that the scope of this investigation has moved beyond just that phone call, of course, that prompted the whole thing, the phone call from former President Trump to the Secretary of State Raffensperger, and now is looking at everybody who, in the DA's words, possibly had any sort of knowledge of the president or his associates' actions as regards to the 2020 election, at least in Georgia. Lindsay.
The surging housing market appears to be slowing down.
That's right. Existing home sales dropped in June, marking the fifth decline in as many months. The National Association for Realtors says sales of previously owned homes dropped 5.4% from May. Existing home sales down 14.2% from the same time last year. Experts point to inflation and rising mortgage rates as some of the reasons.
Jessica Lautz joins us now. She is the Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insight at the National Association of Realtors. Jessica, welcome. So home sales are down, but your report also shows that home prices have hit a record level. The average cost of a home is now $416,000, and that's up nearly $60,000 from June of last year. Quite a difference. So how much of the drop in home sales is because of the rise in prices?
So it's both because of the rise in prices and the rise in mortgage interest rates that we're just seeing that consumers can't keep pace. Wages are not keeping pace with the price of homes. And it's very difficult for a consumer to imagine entering the housing market today when for a $300,000 home, so one that perhaps a first-time home buyer would be entering into, the monthly payment is more than $500 more a month. That's very difficult to consider.
Absolutely. And then, we also have this rising home inventory at the same time. And I wonder if that is being, driven by a bunch of homeowners who say, hey, let me jump into this hot housing market now and sell my house for this great price. But they may find themselves getting into it a little too late to sell for that price that they were dreaming of. Is that part of it?
That could be true, but what we are seeing is while there's slightly more inventory, we're still towards record lows. So it's encouraging for buyers who are out there today who've been shopping for a long period of time and have had a hard time finding a home. Seeing a little more inventory might be encouraging. And what we actually saw in the last month is that days on market dropped to a record low. So if a price is competitively priced and there's a buyer out there for it, that home is probably going to move pretty quickly. So we are seeing that we still see homes moving fast for sellers who do price that home competitively.
I wonder, Jessica, is there any danger in the housing market cooling down too quickly?
So we know that rates rose very quickly, and that was really a shock to a lot of home buyers out there who were in the midst of really shopping for a home. Now, I don't necessarily know that home prices are going to drop at all. In fact, we're still seeing them increase at a double-digit pace, 13% year over year. We do expect, and what we're already seeing in the marketplace is that we're back to a pre-pandemic pace. And that's a good thing because we had a really frenzied market for the last 2 years. So while it's a little slower in the housing market today, it's not necessarily an all-out halt. There's definitely a lot of buyers who want to jump into this market if they can.
It's interesting. You say as long as you price your house competitively or your home, whatever that may be, it's going to sell, right? That's the key bit of information there. Well, Jessica Lautz, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight into the housing market.
Thank you.
In France, President Macron is due to visit the Gironde region in the southwest of the country, where wildfires have burned more than 20,000 hectares of forest in the last week and forced more than 30,000 people from their homes. Fires are continuing to blaze in Spain, Italy and Greece amid drought conditions. Our correspondent Jessica Parker sent this report.
Homes ablaze on a hillside near Athens. Gale force and changing winds helping fan the flames, while hampering efforts to contain them.
Our first priority remains the protection of human life, but also the protection of critical infrastructures, of public property and the private property of citizens.
Evacuations went on into the small hours, the Greek authorities throwing all they could at the blaze. Fires have raged across Europe this summer. Spain was still battling the flames on several fronts. But in southwestern France, things are calmer, the situation more under control. The local mayor was among the thousands evacuated and hopes people can start going home soon.
Bientôt. Ils sont plus proches aujourd'hui qu'ils ne l'étaient hier.
We're closer today than we were yesterday, but we're not there yet. We need to be a little bit more patient.
Soyons encore un peu patients.
The command HQ for La Teste de Buch is actually the local hippodrome, a horse racing track, and they've set up a major operation in its grounds. And just down here, the firefighters had the chance to grab a coffee, take a break. Men and women have come to help from other parts of France. Jerome was brought in from neighbouring Dordogne.
They help us when we need them, and it's the same the other way round. It's important because the forest is part of France, our country.
Experts say we'll see even more severe extremes because of climate change, focusing some minds on the future as Europe continues to grapple with today. Jessica Parker, BBC News in Gironde.
So that's the situation in France. Let's just turn to Greece now. This was the scene in the capital Athens overnight, where wildfires are also raging. At least 9 settlements and a hospital were forced to evacuate. The wildfire broke out on Tuesday, 25 kilometres north of the capital. Strong winds are forecast until this afternoon. Now from France to Greece to Spain, where in the last hour Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has announced that more than 500 people died from the heat wave gripping the country. The intense fires are fueling wildfires. These are live pictures from Cebreros outside of Madrid, where blazes are tearing across the countryside. There are multiple fires across the northwestern parts of Spain. In Zamora, 2 people have died in the blaze there.